Alright, my name is Samuel George, and this is the third part of Assignment 1 for Comp533. In this part, we're going to demonstrate a local client via GUI and change between local execution and sending messages. We're going to do pre-written code for execution in both of these modes, and I'm kind of combined these two to where we're going to do 500 commands in all three modes, and this is going to basically illustrate pre-written code in local and remote mode. So let's start with the GUI part of it. So I've got the console up here. In the GUI mode, I have turned the tracing for so that the GUI remains clear for all the events that I was showing in the previous two parts to false. So basically we're just going to start up three clients, and then we're going to manipulate one of them in local versus global mode. And it's important to note that if we look in our client that we are using here to manipulate, I have a breakpoint on my send for property change events, and we will note that in local mode this will not happen. Also, we are going to send the data directly when we are in global mode, so we will not even get property changes. We will basically just ignore the property changes. We will basically just send the command directly to the server and get that echoed back and do the command. So let's start the local GUI first. We will do it in debug mode so that we can see those breakpoints in global versus local. So the one we are going to manipulate here should be the one on the far left after we move these. So we're going to spread these out so it's very easy to see. Okay, and we're going to slide this down here, and here's our GUI. So you can say we can manipulate the clients. Basically, if you type in L, that puts it in local mode, G puts it in global mode, anything else is interpreted as a command, and end exits. So let's first put it in local mode. It says it's in local mode, and then we'll say do something like a move 100, 100. You'll see in debug mode over here that we have indeed hit the property change event. We are connected to the simulation. And as you'll see, we'll hit next on our breakpoint. We did not hit the breakpoint that was in the client here underneath property change event and send. So everything is done completely local in local mode. And we can demo that a little bit. All right. So we're waiting to send the command again. And we back where we started. And now we're going to put it into global mode. So if we type a capital G, demo is now in global mode. So now when we do move 100, 100, we will not even get property change events. We will just do it. So we're going to move, you see all the clients moved and stay together. And take is not a valid command, so that's good. It doesn't respond to invalid commands. Take that and move again. All right, and then we can put it back into local mode. And it's waiting for the property change event again down here. And now the other client is moved. And we're waiting for the property change event down here again. And we move back. And then we can put it back into global. And they all move. All right, and then if we type end, that closes everything. All right, so that illustrates local execution and also showing that the message for breakpoint for sending messages is not hit. All right, so for our next part, we're not going to run this in debug mode. We're just going to keep the console here so that we can see what's going on. So for the first one, we are going to test the atomic. So the way I have programmed this is we are going to first create two clients. We're going to get manipulation threads from both. We're going to manipulate one of them only in local mode. by putting a series of commands. So this is covering local mode with 500 inputs as well as pre-written code execution. So these are all pre-written commands here. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to do all this locally. I'm going to hit enter again, and it's going to put it into remote mode. It's going to move them up, and you'll see them move back and forth and take cupcakes. This will also cover the 500 moves in remote mode as well as pre-written code execution in remote mode. So let's go ahead and do this. So these are going to start. I'm going to move this down here so that it's easy to see. Okay. And I can't remember which one of these is local, but I suppose it will become obvious here once we click enter. Okay, so we have our 3 clients. We're ready to do local. So we did 500 moves back and forth as a local. You can see all those commands coming in. And for the moment when it was moving, it was connected to a simulation. It's now in atomic mode. They're all going to move, wait a bit, and do 500. A ton of moves back and forth. So they're all moving something like 1, and we can see that their order is basically random, just how the threads are scheduled, but they all end up at exactly the same point with 6 cupcakes. So that has worked. So we will finish with that demo. The last thing we're going to demonstrate to round out the assignment is this is in basic mode. This is where they are in local mode. So over here, we're going to basically do the same thing and move the cupcakes. And we're going to take commands from one of them. We should see the main difference we'll see here is that one of them is going to take commands and move and finish much sooner than the other ones, since it is in basic mode. So we're going to do, this is going to cover 500 input cases for basic mode and pre-written code for those as well. So let's start it up. We have 3 of these. We're going to move it out like this. Okay. And it's ready to do the demo. So we click enter. You can see they're all still connected to the simulation. And this guy's the local one. He is way ahead of the other guys. So one of them should finish. He should finish sooner because all the commands were through him. And the other 2 that were being echoed the commands did the same thing. In this case, we were lucky that they actually ended up in the same place, but you could certainly picture a situation where you could get out of sync. So that finishes up, and we'll press enter to exit. And that summarizes the demo. So we've done 500 commands for all 3 cases. We put in both local and remote mode. And that completes all of the parts of assignment 1.